Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bet Right Sports Betting Podcast presented by Six Pack Coverage Media Network. It's your host, Jeff Farrell, here with my co-host, Andrew Tanzi, coming at you to break down everything you need to know for Week 17 in the NFL. Only 2 weeks left in the regular season. We are chugging right along here. We're going to do a little recap of Week 16 to start things off, and then we'll go game by game and break everything down to help you lock in all of your valuable bets for Week 17 in the NFL, and we will close the show with our long shots, best bets, and the chalk donkey parlay. Rue, how did Week 16 treat you?
Yeah, another great week despite some disappointing injuries on the prop sheet. Just moving along here, kind of getting a little antsy now that the season's coming to an end, and I know the end of the season's on the horizon. But another great week, and going to try and make the most out of the last 2 weeks of the regular season here.
Yeah, the fact that we went 2-2 on the prop sheet and my two largest bets of the week, which were Miles Sanders and James Robinson over rush yards, the fact that they didn't come home and I still had a really good week, that's a good sign. The Dolphins on Monday night definitely helped. We got some insanely good numbers on that once the Ian Book stuff came down. That was my favorite bet of the week before that even happened. So another good week. Debate of the week. We did not have one last week. We will not have one this week. So I'm running out of time to make up this 6-5 lead you have. So we'll see if we can come up with different sides next week. Favorite bets of the week. Win and a win. Rue, your was this the Christmas Day teaser? I can't
Christmas
even keep
Day
track of my
teaser.
days.
Yep.
Yeah. Colts and the Packers. Were you sweating either of them? The Packers definitely made it a little interesting at the end.
Yeah, that defense is, we'll get to that later. But, yeah, they were definitely making me sweat that one. But in the back of my mind, you just kind of knew Mayfield was going to screw it up, which is what happened.
Yeah, exactly what happened. So you go to 11-4-1. I got an easy win with the Dolphins on Monday night. Got them at +3. Hopefully you got that number. If not, even if you locked it in at a pick 'em or -3, they were never in doubt in that game. So I'm also 11-4, combined 22-8 record on the year on our favorite bets of the week, 73.3%. Keep it moving. Long shots of the week. We both took losses here. James Robinson, rush yards, a touchdown, and the Jags money line for you. Fortunately, that one was kind of done in the first quarter.
Yeah, torn Achilles for James Robinson kind of stinks. I don't know that him being there would have changed the outcome. Who knows? But, it was over pretty quickly.
Maybe instead of spiking it on 3rd and goal,
I'll get to that.
They could have handed it off to James Robinson.
Yeah.
I think it would have changed things. Okay. For me, I had Mark Andrews, 60 receiving yards, and the Ravens money line. When I gave that out, that was when we were expecting Tyler Huntley to be the starter. Did not feel great about that with Josh Johnson. Andrews obviously still had an incredible game, but it was really frustrating because Andrews was a guy that we were, definitely going to be on the prop sheet, and we're all excited to bet him. And then, Josh Johnson comes in and just changes everything. So I didn't end up betting this one, obviously, with the quarterback news, but I will take a loss for the podcast. Chalk donkey parlay drops to 5-5 on the year. Thank you to the LA Chargers for absolutely nothing. Joke of a team, lost to the Texans.
Terrible. I was on the Chargers -8-2. Again, what did that close at? 12.5. So I had 4.5 points of closing.
It got out of control at the end.
Yeah, it was crazy. And somehow, I was on this podcast last week saying that Rex Burkhead and the Texans couldn't run on the team playing 7 guys. Well, I think the Chargers could have had 20 guys out there and he still would have rushed for 100 yards. So, I guess Burkhead. That defense is just even worse than we expected. And that was just an all-time bad defensive performance. So I took that one on the chin. I guess it was a bad read by me.
I don't even know if it was a bad read. I don't even know what to make of that game. Prop sheet last week, 2-2, only gave out 4 plays. We go to 107 and 53 overall. Very, very annoying week. Obviously, 50% of our plays ended up losing because of injury. The other 2 hit easily. So, that was frustrating. And what made it even worse was there was a bunch of spots that we mentioned on the podcast that I was really excited to bet, and just situations completely changed. Like Gabe Davis missed the game because of COVID. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you didn't really know what to expect with Tim Boyle at quarterback. Same thing with Mark Andrews. Even the Jalen Waddle play, like with Ian Book on the other side, was like, are they even going to need him? So I feel like there was a ton of spots that we could have crushed last week that just, got ruined by COVID news and stuff like that. So that'll wrap up our Week 16 recap. Ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. Let's first do our heroes and zeros of the week. We'll start out on a positive side. Who is your hero of the week?
I am going with Josh Allen. I have a division future on the Bills. He showed up That was obviously huge for that. I actually ended up betting his over pass yards as well at 240.5, and he absolutely smashed that, throwing for over 300 yards. Also covered the second leg of a teaser, and he covered the +2.5. So Josh Allen, my hero of the week.
All right, my hero of the week, I'm going to go with Devonta Adams. There was a brief moment in time last week where Devonta Adams receiving yards dipped down to 80.5. And we talked about this on the podcast that we kind of liked it at the opener of 89.5. When we saw 80.5, we jumped all over it. Unfortunately, it was only available for a couple minutes. So I don't know if anyone follows us on the Action Network. Maybe you saw it and got it. If not, he still cashed if you took the regular line. It was just maybe the only time in his career where he has Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback and we get his receiving yards that low. Came through with 2 touchdowns, helped cash the Packers teaser bets. And, the receiving yard prop was never in doubt. I believe it almost hit in the first half. So
yes.
Devonta Adams, buy low spot. We did it. Zero of the week for you. I think we're going to have the same one here, but I will let you go ahead.
Is yours Trevor Lawrence?
I mean, is there anyone else that could be the zero? I like him.
Spiking the ball on 3rd and goal with about 20 seconds left at the end of the game, needing a touchdown to win. I look, I know this guy's a rookie, but he's still been playing football for his entire life, and you're giving away a play on the 3-yard line, needing a touchdown to win by spiking it. Just throw a fade route in the corner of the end zone. Do like anything. Anything is better than just spiking it. Absolutely.
You're 6'6" you're at the 1-yard line to a quarterback sneak to literally any play call.
Crazy. Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence, as if your season hasn't been bad enough, now it's at an all-time low. You are the zero of the week on the Bet Right Sports Betting Podcast.
All-time low. I don't know how this guy was the first overall pick. He's not accurate, doesn't have good decision-making, apparently doesn't even have any awareness. It's just horrible. Terrible. Trevor Lawrence, zero of the week for both of us on the podcast.
Yes.
All right. That'll wrap it up. There is no Thursday night football game this week, so I don't know what we're going to do with ourselves from now until Sunday, but we'll have to find something to keep busy because the first game is going to be on Sunday. Let's kick it off with the Bucks and the Jets. We have the Jets as 12.5-point underdogs here. Over-under is 45.5. Shaq Barrett is going to be out for the Colts. That is a pretty big loss for their defense. And then
Bucks.
Mike Evans.
Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks, not the Colts. We'll get to the Colts later. I have COVID news with them. So Shaq Barrett's going to be out with the Bucks. Mike Evans is questionable with an injury and also on the COVID list. When we're going through this stuff,
I don't think Mike Evans is playing. I saw today it's going to be an uphill battle for him to play. And if that's the case, I doubt they're going to rush him to play against the Jets.
I agree. I was just going to mention while we're going through all this stuff, whenever we're talking about stuff on the COVID list, just take it with a grain of salt. There's so much changing every single day. A beat reporter tweets some now, and then Schefter says the opposite, and then Rap Sheet says the opposite. I don't know who's on the COVID list, who's coming off, who's eligible to play.
And the rules are changing every day too.
That's what I'm saying. Every time someone's like, "Oh, this person's on the COVID list," they're not playing. 10 minutes later, it's like, "Well, actually, if they test negative 6 times and do the hokey pokey, they can still test out." It's I don't know what to do anymore. So just note that when we're saying all this stuff, that all of this stuff could change and to pay attention to it. Anyway, what do you have here? Do you have a play on the side or total here? I do not.
Yeah, so I bet the Bucks at the opener at -13, thinking this was going to get pushed over 2 touchdowns, 14.5, which I think by kickoff, it might get over 2 touchdowns once that Sunday money comes in. But look, you have Tom Brady, regardless of him missing Evans and Godwin. You saw last week that this offense is still a juggernaut with Antonio Brown back. You have Tom Brady going against the 32nd ranked secondary, allowing 7.6 yards per pass, also bottom 3 in rush defense. And then on the other side, you have Bucks, who are top 3 in blitz percentage and pressure rate, which just spells disaster for Zach Wilson here. Bucks are 6-1 against the spread when they close as double-digit favorites. So I just don't see how the Jets, outside of any 50-plus yard touchdown runs from Zach Wilson, can keep pace here with the Bucks. So I really like the Bucks here at anything under the 14.
Yeah, I think you make a good case. I could definitely see the Bucks. I actually ended up on them last week against the Panthers because it dipped down to 9.5. I don't think it'll get that low this week, but I do agree. I don't really see any way that the Jets are going to be competitive here. We know they're not going to be able to run the ball, and Zach Wilson stinks. And like you said, Tom Brady is going to be able to do whatever he wants if he's not handing the ball off to Ronald Jones. So yeah, I could get on board with the Bucks here. Would never bet the Jets at these numbers.
No.
Props for you in this one. I have 2.
Yeah, I'll be looking where Ronald Jones is. I think this is a game where he could rack upwards of like 22 carries in this game. So if you get something low 70s, I would probably like that against this Jets defense.
Definitely agree there. I was looking. Yeah, I think I wrote down like 71.5. Played 52% of snaps last week. Saw 20 of 29 running back carries. And that was because the Bucs were up so big. They took him out late. You can even look at Keyshawn Vaughn here. If they open a low rushing total on him, he obviously had a big run last week, but he did get 7 carries. And if the Bucs are up by double digits in the fourth quarter, he could potentially be used to ice out the game. And I think I'm going to go right back to Antonio Brown here. I know we were on him last week, 10 for 101 on a team high 15 targets. I actually saw some stuff come out that he has a bunch of contract incentives and there's bonuses tied to his receptions, yards, and touchdowns. I think he needs like 11 more receptions and 2 touchdowns of the final 2 games. And we actually saw this exact same thing last season in week 17. Antonio Brown needed 11 catches to earn a $250,000 bonus, and Tom Brady got him exactly 11 catches, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They were literally just lining up, throwing him the ball at the line of scrimmage as run plays just to get him this bonus. So I think this is something Brady definitely cares about, and he'll try and push for Brown to get that. So I'm looking at over 6.5 receptions and yards in the low 70s.
All right.
All right, let's move on to another game with a large favorite. The Buffalo Bills are 14-point favorites over the Atlanta Falcons. Over-under is 44. Weather's going to be cold here, but nothing crazy. No strong winds or anything that I'm seeing right now. Cole Beasley and Gabe Davis, along with a couple other Bills, are now off the COVID list. I was originally leaning to the Falcons here. I just haven't been able to pull the trigger. I don't think I could ever lay this many points with the Bills. I know they're pretty good as big favorites and like to beat up on bad teams. But I just can't get to this number. I could see like 11.5, I think would be reasonable, but 14 is just insane. I can never get to this number with the Bills.
Yeah, I think this is another one. If it dipped below the 14, I might take the Bills. They've actually won. Last week was the first game all season that they won by less than 15 points. So all their other wins have been by 15 or more points. And
really?
Yeah,
That's
right.
Awesome.
And you talked about it all last week. The Falcons, they play well against bad teams and terrible against good teams. So I think it's just another spot. I don't know that this number will dip that much below the 14, but I'll be looking for that. I do have one prop in this game. I will be looking at Devin Singletary since being declared the number 1 back by Sean McDermott 2 weeks ago. He's seen all but 4 running back carries. He only saw 12 carries last week, but there was a lot of Josh Allen designed runs, which I really don't expect to see in this matchup against the Falcons. I think that was more of a, it was an opportunity they missed on in the first matchup against the Patriots, and they exploited it last week. But I could see, 2 weeks ago, Singletary saw 22 carries. I could see something similar here. Falcons 25th in DVOA against the rush, and I don't think you're going to get that high of a line for Devin Singletary. I wouldn't be surprised. I would be shocked if this like even sniffed, upper 60s or 70s.
I think mid 50s. You'll probably
get. That's what I'm saying. I'd be just and anything in the 50s, I would absolutely love here.
Yeah, and like you said, 2 weeks ago, they were double-digit favorites against the Carolina Panthers, 22 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. I think that's the perfect comparison game. So definitely going to be on Singletary here as well. That'll be it for props in this game.
Yep.
All right, let's go to a game with a lot of question marks and a lot of frustration from me personally. The Las Vegas Raiders against Indianapolis Colts. Colts are 6.5-point home favorites. Over/under is 44.5. I got screwed here. As soon as Carson Wentz went on the COVID list, I bet a large amount of money on the Raiders at +5.5. And now apparently there's a chance that Carson Wentz could play. We're not exactly sure. The Colts also have some offensive linemen on the COVID list. Darius Leonard, the Raiders have a bunch of linebackers. Darren Waller was placed on the COVID list. So I don't know who the heck's playing in this game. I don't know what the heck to tell you to do. If everyone plays and everyone's at full strength, I think the Colts in a teaser, if they're at 7, 7.5, or 8, I think is a really strong play. That was my plan going into the week. Unfortunately, I got the COVID news and I bet the Raiders, so I'm kind of stuck here. But if I had no position on the game, I would wait, wouldn't touch it now because you have no idea who's going to play. If Wentz and everyone is back, I think the Colts and teasers are a good play, and they're more than likely to win here because I think that they can control the game on the ground with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely don't touch this game if you haven't already. I, like you, bought into the Raiders when we got the Wentz news. The book I had only that I was able to get at was a Raiders +5. So honestly, if Wentz ends up playing here, I'll probably I'll find a way to get the Colts money line and maybe cash both. I was thinking I like the Raiders team total under. It's at 19 right now, but maybe I do a under 21 with a Colts money line. Raiders have scored 20 points just once in 8 games since the bye week, and that took about 1,000 penalty yards from the Cowboys on Thanksgiving for them to get over 20. So if Wentz plays, I'll be looking for something like that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Sucks.
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, you don't like that play? A Raiders team total under 21 and Colts money line if Wentz is in?
No, I don't like that play.
What don't you like about it? Tell me. So
I think there's going to be points in this game.
Based on what? What have you seen from the Raiders that make you think there's going to be points scored by them?
Not a ton. I just think they're going to be able to do enough to score points here.
Okay. Way to back that point up.
I would not be hedging with Raiders team total
7 out of 8.
Colts money
7
line.
out of 8. It's not hedging. I mean, it's just another position to try and get exposure to the Colts. I'd play it regardless if I was into the Raiders already or not. 7 out of 8 games since the bye week, they scored less than 20 points. So I don't know how you can tell me they're going to put points up against a defense that's played very well.
Yeah, they're going to score some points.
All right, you're the worst.
All right, props in this game. I think Jonathan Taylor rush yards might be in play if it's under 110. I think I might bet it. He's at over 100 rush yards in 6 of the last 7 games and is averaging 25 carries per game over the last 5.
The only thing that scares me is the last 2 games I feel like he's been bottled up for a majority of the game, and it's just one run that's
last game definitely.
And against the Patriots, it was the one early run, and outside of that, I felt like they did a pretty decent job against him.
Wait, no, the Patriots was the game I was thinking of. What was last week?
Last week there's the Cardinals too. He had like a 45-yard run, and other than that,
that was like early in the game.
So the Patriots was late, the Cardinals was early. But regardless, it was like one long run. It's not that he's ineffective, but it's not like he hasn't been doing like his 5-6 yards per carry outside of the long run. So that's the only thing that scares me because, I feel like you're somewhat relying on that big run when the yardage totals that high.
It's fair. Any props for you in this game? I do have one more.
Nah, nothing else.
All right. My favorite prop in this game is going to be Josh Jacobs over. I'm looking for 3.5 receptions or 29.5 receiving yards. Last week in an ugly game, Jacobs only had 1 catch for -5 yards on 3 targets. So I'm hoping we get a little bit of a discount here. But I just think this is an awesome spot for Jacobs. The game script, assuming Wentz is in, it sets up for the Raiders to be down. They're going to be forced into throwing situations. Whereas last week they were heavily relying on the run game. The strength of the Colts defense is the run defense. They ranked 28th in DVOA against opposing running backs in the passing game. And prior to last week, Jacobs had 4 straight games of 25 plus receiving yards, averaged 5.75 targets over those games. And guess what? Last game, the Colts allowed Chase Edmonds to go 8 catches for 71 yards through the air. He was their leading wide receiver, and Brandon Bolden, who played on 30% of snaps, got 41 receiving yards for the Patriots the week before.
All right.
Boom. All right. Ready to move on?
Yep.
Rolling right along here, on to Cincinnati, where the Kansas City Chiefs are coming in as 5-point favorites over the Bengals. Over-under is up to 50.5 here. The weather is going to be, I'm seeing 34 degrees, not a ton of wind, so it's going to be cold, but nothing crazy. Injuries, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be out, but he stinks. That doesn't matter. I need help in this game. I keep staring at the Chiefs, and I want to take them, but the number's just too high. It's like I could never get to Chiefs -5 here in terms of the numbers. But I just feel like the Chiefs' D-line is going to be a problem. We know the Bengals are not great in pass protection. I think Burrow's going to be running for his life for a lot of the day. I don't know what to do. Do you have a play here? I'm really back and forth.
No, I'm kind of with you. It's just in that dead zone, like 5.5. It's not enough.
I'm waiting for it to move somewhere where I can take a side, but it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, because it's, if it got 6.5, I'd feel like I'd have to take the Bengals at that number. But if it went lower to like 4, 3.5, I'd feel like, but yeah, like you, it's, it's always just a concern with the Bengals. This Chiefs D line and defense has been playing so well. I don't think they're going to be able to hold up in this matchup in pass protection. I still am not fully bought into this Chiefs offense. It's still just, you have their game here and there where they explode, but I don't fully trust them. Bengals defense has been pretty solid, but as of right now, if it holds at this 5.5, it's just a pass for me.
Yeah. Hopefully we get some line movement one way or the other. I want to have a bet in this game. I do have the over. I did get the over at 47.5. It was laughably low on the openers, but I would not touch it now at 51.
Yeah.
And the game's definitely going under now because I've got that CLV. We know how that goes.
Yeah.
I don't even have any props in this game, I don't think.
No, it's a tough, the Bengals offense, you got, 3 receivers that you never really know who to count on. And then Kelsey's coming back, right? He's definitely back.
Yes, Kelsey will be back this week. Obviously, him and Hill, it's kind of difficult to figure out who's going to have a good game between those two.
Yeah.
Seems not like much here.
Nope. I feel like we just made one of the most exciting games on the slate pretty boring, but
I know. I want to get into it. The hype is just from a betting angle, there's just not much here. Should be a great real life game. Just watch it and have some fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to a game that definitely will not be fun. The Jacksonville Jaguars against the New England Patriots. Patriots are 15-point home favorites. Over under is 41.5. Patriots have now lost 2 games in a row. So they are playing the Jaguars at the perfect time. The weather is going to be 45 degrees. There is a chance of rain, but nothing crazy here. James Robinson, like we mentioned before, done for the season. So yet another weapon on this Jaguars offense down. And Ramondre Stevenson sounds like he was back at practice today. So they're probably going to have him and Damian Harris out there. There's just nothing here. I'm not laying over 2 touchdowns with the Patriots. I'm not sure what they've really shown this season to be able to build and maintain a lead of this size. And I want absolutely nothing to do with the Jaguars right now. So pretty easy game to pass for me.
Yeah, it's a pass, but I don't think I guess you could make a case on both sides. Like you said, the Patriots.
I was going to say, I don't think I can make a case on either side.
The Jaguars' last 3 games against winning teams, they've been outscored 77-17. So it's
was also with Urban Meyer.
Because they've looked so good since he's left. They played the two of the worst teams in the league and lost both games. I mean,
they're better. I don't know. Maybe they're worse. I don't know. I don't know what they are. I would
Lawrence
say
is up to what?
Better, but I don't know.
What's Lawrence up to? How many games without a touchdown? We got 1 in the last 8 games. 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown in the last 8 weeks. I mean, that's just this. There's just nothing on this Jaguars team that I want to take any amount of points with them. But Patriots, I'm not laying over 2 touchdowns. So another pass for me here.
All right. Props in this one. I got nothing.
Nope. Unless they give us another Damian Harris touchdown at plus money, which I highly doubt we will get this week.
Would you take it if Ramondre Stevenson is back? Because I don't even know if I would.
I probably would.
Guess still a Patriots running back. I don't know. I feel like we've been burned by this situation too many times. If they're both active, it's not worth it.
I guess. All right, plus 150 if Stevenson's in, you wouldn't take a Damian.
Okay, it's plus 150. It's not going to be. It's going to be like minus 100.
All right.
Let's move on. Man, these games are just. I feel like they're getting worse. Now we have the Giants and the Bears. The Bears are 6-point home favorites. The over-under is 37. Yes, we have to talk about this one. The weather here, 16 degrees with a real feel of 2 degrees and 14 mile per hour winds. So if you have watched Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm in normal weather games, one can only imagine what they will look like when it's 2 degrees and windy. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback for either team. I believe Joe Judge said it will be some combination of Glennon and Fromm, and Matt Nagy. Who the heck knows if it's going to be Foles, Dalton, or Fields?
What's the benefit of when teams switch quarterbacks? It's usually like a running quarterback, and what does switching off Fromm and Glennon do for any team other than just give you like Dumb and Dumber basically out there playing quarterback? I don't understand the benefit of cycling these 2 in and out, but I don't know. But I don't know how Nagy can play Foles, and I don't know how Nagy can justify playing Dalton over Foles the entire year when they're paying Foles a ton of money to be a third stringer, and he starts 1 game and wins. So I don't know. Both these teams are a disaster, and no play here other than 1 prop.
Yeah, I feel like this is another one where, like, from a numbers perspective, there's no way I could ever get to the Bears -6 here. Like, there's just absolutely no chance you could ever get to that spread. But the Giants have quit. This team doesn't care. They can't move the ball on offense. So it's just one where it's like, I don't really want the points with the Giants because they could care less. And I'm not laying this many points with the Bears because they don't deserve to be this big of a favorite.
Yeah. And the Giants, like we said last week, they are probably the worst team in the league right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have them ranked right next to the Texans and Jets and below the Lions for sure.
What about the Jaguars?
Jaguars are still worse.
All right.
They're number 32.
All right.
Is your prop David Montgomery rush yards?
Yeah, yards and attempts. Last week his attempts were at 15.5, which I just thought was insultingly low. So I ended up putting that in close to kickoff of this game when I ended up seeing it. I always do a last second scan and stuff, and I saw that. And he's, no matter who's at quarterback, they're going to want to lean on Montgomery. And I think he ended up seeing 22 carries in the game. He had like 8 or 9 in the first quarter. So yards and attempts against this awful, awful Giants run defense. I don't think you can go wrong there.
Love it. Averaging 17.5 carries over the last 5. And in games where the Bears are favored this season, which is only 2 or 3, he is averaging 20 carries and 76 rush yards. So I think attempts at 16.5 or yards anywhere in the high 60s to low 70s. And the weather favors the run game. All right, moving on. Let's go to our Philadelphia Eagles traveling down to Washington to take on the footballs. Footballs are, is it still at 3.5? I believe it is still at 3.5 points. The over-under is 44.5. No weather issues here. For the Eagles, couple running back issues. Miles Sanders is going to be out. Jordan Howard got a stinger and is questionable. Boston Scott's still a capable backup. Good thing for the Eagles. They have quite a bit of running back depth. Also have Kenny Gainwell there. So I don't think that's a big loss. And Ron Rivera was apparently talking about going with the Matt Rule, Joe Judge strategy here of using a combination of Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen in this game. I'm all over the Eagles here. Love them at -3. This went up to 3.5. It's been trending down. Apparently, there's a ton of money coming in on the footballs. I can't understand why. I think the spread should be Eagles -5. That's what I made it when I was making my numbers. I like their money line here as well, under -200. Like we just saw these teams play 2 weeks ago. I know it was Garrett Gilbert at quarterback, but the Eagles played one of their worst games of the season, and at no point did you ever feel like they were going to lose the game. They ran all over them. They did whatever they wanted to. Like after the weird Goddard fluky interception and the nonsense with the Hurts fumble, like they dominated this game. They're going to do it again here this week.
Yeah, like you said, there's I don't understand, some things I've been reading, some podcasts I've been listening to. It just heard a lot of love for this football team this week, and I for the life of me, I can't understand it because we saw last week, we have fists being thrown on the sidelines, and they're not mathematically eliminated yet, but it'd be a stretch for them to make the playoffs, and it was, you said we played against Garrett Gilbert, but it wasn't just that. It was this defense is just an absolute disaster in the run game and the passing game. And it's just, they've hit an all-time low. The Eagles are fighting for playoff position. So it's just, this is all Eagles for me here.
Absolutely. Props for you in this one.
I do not have anything right now.
Excuse me?
I mean, I'm not going to play a running back prop if I don't know if Jordan Howard or anyone's active.
Okay,
yet.
Jordan Howard is ruled out, and Boston Scott's rush yards are 64.5. Your play is what?
64.5.
Dude, the over. The over is the play. Why are you making this so difficult? The over.
Yeah,
that was a layup. I gave you a softball and you made it so complicated.
All right. Well, I don't know who else is going to get carries. Gainwell could get work. They just
Gainwell got the passing down work.
Right,
Boston Scott, we've seen
they
this.
They signed
before.
Kerryon Johnson. You don't know if he's going to play.
He sucks. He's not going to play.
He was on the team in preseason, so he knows the plays. So it's not like he's just going to come and be an extra body.
Yeah, I know he sucks.
If you think Boston Scott's going to come in and get 20 carries in this game, you're insane. There's still going to be Hurts runs. There's still going to be Gainwell getting runs, and I think Kerryon Johnson
going to get 15 carries.
Okay, that's fine. But
in games that Miles Sanders has missed this year, 12 for 60 and 2 against Detroit, 10 for 40 against the Chargers, 11 for 81 against the Broncos, and 15 for 64 last week against the Giants. All 4 of those games included Jordan Howard. I think 15 carries is the baseline here. Kenny Gainwell is going to get the passing work, and Boston Scott's going to go for 80-plus rushing yards.
All right.
What about Dallas Goddard? Would you look at him in the 50s?
I keep seeing him drop too many passes, but
even with two of the most brutal drops you'll ever see, 7 for 135 on a team high, 9 targets against the same football team 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's hard not to. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of targeting the Eagles passing game.
I mean, the good thing about the Eagles passing game is pretty much every pass goes to him or Devonta Smith. It's not like you're spreading it out amongst 8 wide receivers.
Yeah, no,
pretty concentrated.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend on where the number is. Maybe in the it's probably going to be so juiced up. That's the problem.
If it's in the 50s.
Oh, 50s? Yeah, 50s. Yeah, I didn't hear you say 50s.
I think he was like 57.5 last week, and he had a bad game. So,
all right.
All right, Boston Scott. Come on, get there. Let's go. Moving on.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to another NFC East team. The Dallas Cowboys are 5.5-point home favorites against the Arizona Cardinals. The over-under opened at 48.5, where I bet it on the over. It is now up to 52. Cowboys clinched the NFC East last week. The Cardinals are, I believe they already clinched a playoff spot, but they could still win the NFC West as opposed to getting a wild card spot. So both teams have something to play for here. James Conner is questionable for the Cardinals. I don't really have any word. It sounded like he was going to play last week, but then there was some reports that he was obviously ruled out. There was some reports that he was never even close to playing. Others that say he was. So who knows? But the Cowboys defense is currently number 1 in DVOA against the pass compared to number 16 against the run. So I think having James Conner in this game would be a big help to this Cardinals offense that's already down DeAndre Hopkins and likely Rondale Moore. I think this game is a wait as long as possible and take the Cardinals. I honestly think there's some value on them at 5.5, but I'm going to wait, see if I can get 6, see if I can get 6.5. I am not in any rush here because it seems like everyone's been on the Cowboys because this line has been going nothing but up this week. So my strategy here, wait as long as possible, take the Cardinals at 6 or 6.5, and sell high on the Cowboys.
I did take the Cardinals at 5.5 because it looked like it was going the other way. I started seeing some 4.5s pop up, so I just grabbed them. I'll buy into a little more if we do end up getting a 6.5. Look, I've been a big backer of this Cowboys team, but I don't know when it's going to be. And obviously I'm fading them this week, but it come playoff time, and I have a Super Bowl ticket on them. This turnover stuff, this can't keep up. This team cannot get a defensive touchdown every week. You get a blocked punt last week. You have the DeMarcus Lawrence crate. It is unbelievable. And this, maybe there'll be like a Chiefs team where they get all these, this luck throughout the season. It carries them far, but at some point, maybe it's next season. This team's going to be a complete fade for me. And look, this is an offense that was struggling for the good part or more than a month before beating down a Washington football team that we just talked about, who's just completely packed it in, and the defense is in shambles. So I don't know how much stock you put into one game against that defense. The Cardinals, they haven't played great, but they're not a complete slouch defense. They're much better than the football team. So I think this is just, like you said, just the ultimate buy low spot on the Cardinals here at 5.5. I mean, this line should be probably 3. I think you're getting at least 2.5 points of value here with the Cardinals. So I am on the Cardinals here, and let's hope Kyler can somewhat turn it around here.
Yeah, this Cardinals offense needs to get going again. Too many weapons to be as mediocre as they've looked the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Props for you in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at Kyler rush yards. This is actually something I put in late before the game on Saturday. It was at 26.5, so anything probably 32.5 or less. I'll look at Kyler. He's been running more in these bigger matchups outside of 2 weeks ago. I think he didn't run, but outside of that, since he's gotten healthier outside their bye week, he's been running a lot more.
All right, I'm going to look at Zach Ertz over receiving yards, and we can get a number in the high 40s, maybe even up to like 52.5. We were all over Ertz last week, came through with a big game, 8 for 54 on 13 targets. He is averaging over 10 targets and over 6 catches per game over the last 3. And the Cowboys' weakest spot on this pass defense that is very good, their weakest spot is against opposing tight ends. And then let's just keep the free money train rolling. Ezekiel Elliott under rushing plus receiving yards. This has hit in 7 straight games. I have taken it every single one. If he is lined in the 70s, you just keep betting it. If Rue wasn't completely obsessed with this loser, our prop sheet would have 7 more wins because he just can't get over the fact that Tony Pollard is a better running back than Ezekiel Elliott and won't play his unders based on principle.
It's not principle. I think
your rebuttal is
there's no rebuttal. I mean, look, you can't deny the profit it's been making. I feel like you've gotten lucky in a few of the matchups.
Not lucky.
Like, yeah, like the couple of the matchups where Pollard was out, it was they were up by so much that they didn't need to do it, and then
that's part of the reason why you play the under.
Yeah, I get it, but I like you're of this mindset, like you said a few weeks ago, that the Cowboys are worse when they give them the ball, and I'm going to harp on that forever because it's just an outrageous statement. But it's
true.
It's look, the 70.5. Yeah, it's too high of a number based on what we've seen. But I don't think Zeke by any means sucks. The guy's been playing injured the entire season. I think he looked a little bit better last week. So, but as long as he continues to basically split 50-50 with Pollard, it's tough to make a case for an over at any point.
Okay, ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, the Houston Texans are going to be taking on the San Francisco 49ers in San Fran. The Niners are 13-point favorites. Over under is 44.5. Niners need a win to hang on to their wild card spot. They could be on the outside looking in if they drop this one. Jimmy G is going to be highly questionable with a finger injury, so it sounds like it's going to be Trey Lance. No real word on Elijah Mitchell either. He's still questionable. I'm assuming Brandon Cooks is back for the Texans. I believe he was on the COVID list last week, but I haven't officially heard that he's been reactivated. Do you have a play on this game?
I don't have a play. I'll say that I think they would be stupid to play Jimmy G in this matchup because this is an absolutely perfect matchup to just play Trey Lance and just run the ball the entire game with him and either Jeff Wilson and Elijah Mitchell, whoever else is back there against this bottom five. Yeah, Debo, bottom five rush defense that the Texans have. So I mean, I doubt this number even sniffs 10, but in another world, if it did get under 10 with Lance in there, I would probably back the 49ers.
Yeah, we'll see what happens if he officially gets announced in. If you made me play it right now, I'd probably take the Texans just because they have been hanging around. I don't know the answer to this question, but when do you think the last time we saw a team that was a 13-point underdog that had the better quarterback in a matchup? That has to be like a handful of times that's ever happened. A 13-point spread on a team with a better quarterback. It's crazy.
Are you saying Mills over Garoppolo?
I'm saying Davis Mills is a better quarterback than Trey Lance.
Well, I mean, it's kind of an unfair statement. You've seen Lance play one game, but
I mean, I'm just saying, as of right now, I think that it's fair to say that Davis Mills is a better quarterback. I mean, he's a 13-point underdog. It's rare.
All right. I mean, I guess.
Props for you in this one.
I just have Lance, if he plays, his yards, his carries. His other start, he had 16 carries for 89 yards. And I don't think if he starts, I don't think the books can put a line that high for Lance. Like, you're not going to get.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think a number opens up for his yards and attempts at?
52.5. I don't even know if they'll give you attempts.
Yeah. So, 52.5 and maybe they throw out like a 12.5 carries or something. But like I said, if he plays, this is just going to be run nonstop for the 49ers. So,
yeah, I was thinking about maybe under pass attempts. If we get a number in like the low to mid 20s, kind of the same thing, thinking that they're going to be all over the ground game. And at least when Jimmy G is the starter, the under is 6-2 on pass attempts in games when the Niners win and the Texans defense is middle of the pack against the pass, bottom 5 against the run. So I think that we are definitely on the same page with a lot of Niners run games, and finding a way to play that is a smart play.
Yeah.
Also, Brandon Ayuk, I was going to look at his under receiving yards if you get a number in the 40s. Again, not expecting him to throw a ton. He went 2 for 32 in Lance's only other start, and that was a game without George Kittle. And Ayuk is the clear number 3 option in the passing game with Kittle and Debo firmly planted as the 1 and 2.
And I don't hate Brandon Cooks once we get confirmation he's in, because that's the way the 49ers have been being beat by, number 1 wide receivers and big plays. So I think they've allowed the most 20-plus yard passes down the field in the league. So Brandon Cooks' yards could be a good spot if we get it in the mid-60s where it's been lined for most of the season.
I like that a lot. Do they not have times for these games on Sunday?
What do you mean?
On DraftKings, it just says the date of the games, but it doesn't have what time each game is played at. It's been bothering me all week.
FanDuel has the dates, or the times, I mean.
My whole spreadsheet here is all thrown off because they keep mismatching the order of the games because the times aren't there.
Maybe you should use FanDuel for the order.
Yeah, I know. I knew this was FanDuel. But normally the props are up on DraftKings first. So I like to have the props on my phone as I'm going through. But this week there's no props on any sites. It's a lost cause. All right, we'll move on here. Panthers against the Saints. The Saints are 6.5-point home favorites. Over under is 39. Gross looking game here. Sam Darnold is going to be the starter for the Panthers. Who the heck knows how long he'll last before Cam Newton comes in, because they love to play two quarterbacks. Sean Payton did not announce a starter today. I think everyone's assuming it's going to be Taysom Hill, but he wouldn't say one way or the other. I can pretty much assure you it's not going to be Ian Book, but it's probably going to be Taysom Hill. If not, it will be Trevor Siemian. I think this is an easy pass for me. This is another game where it's like I could never in a million years make a case for why the Saints should be 6.5 or 7-point favorites here. But it's also really hard to get behind this Panthers team. It doesn't look like they have a ton of fight in them. Their quarterback situation's a disaster. Matt Rule looks like he has no idea what he's doing. If this got up to like 7.5 or 8, I might have to take a stab at the Panthers, but it's with almost no confidence. Basically just a blind bet saying that the Saints are not 8 points better than this Panthers team.
Yeah, this is the more we go through this slate, the more I'm just like, this week sucks. There's so many just passes.
I know.
This is like a better version, better, I put in quotes, than the Giants and Bears game, because it's like the Panthers suck, but the Saints are the better team, but I can't ever get to laying this many points with the Saints. So yeah, just another pass for me in a game I'm not going to have anything on.
Prop looks for you here?
No, I don't even like the one I've written down, so no.
What is it?
I just
why'd you write it down if you
I don't
like
know.
it?
I don't know. Well, I had 2 written down that I don't like. I had Kamara rush yards, which I guess
I don't like that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't like it. And then if we got something with like Amir Abdullah in the receiving game with Sam Darnold back, because I feel like that's the only way Sam Darnold can move the ball down the field is dumping it off their running back. So maybe if you get something with Amir Abdullah in the pass game, maybe I'll like it more once I see a line for him. I just have no idea what it's going to open at, which is why I'm saying I don't like it.
I have Chuba Hubbard under rush yards. If we get a number in the low 30s, honestly, even in the high 20s, I wouldn't hate it. This is cash for us 2 weeks in a row. I believe we had the rushing plus receiving yards, or at least I did. The Saints run D is awesome. Only 6 carries for a measly 9 yards last week against the Bucs, who are pretty similar in terms of strength of their run defense compared to the Saints. And he only played 49% of the snaps last week. Like you mentioned, I think Abdullah is going to be a big feature of this offense. All right. Go on to a game that actually matters, that actually looks like it could be fun. Miami Dolphins against Tennessee Titans. Titans are 3.5-point home favorites here. Over under is a cool 40. No weather issues that I am seeing in this game. The Titans did place a couple guys on the COVID list: Julio Jones, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Bud Dupree, Buster Screen. Again, I believe these were placed on Tuesday, so I have no idea if they're going to be playing or not. I'm all over the Dolphins here, plus 3.5. I love this play for a few reasons. First off, I think the numbers point to the Dolphins. I made this game Titans -2 when I was making my numbers. Maybe you could sell me on a Titans -3, but getting this over the key number of 3, I think, is absolutely crazy. And I'm going to look at the on-field handicap. I think this is an excellent matchup for the Dolphins. You have Dolphins offense, not great at running the ball. They have 2 excellent wide receivers. And a solid tight end as well. And the Titans' pass D is decent, but when you dig a little deeper, they fare much better against opposing tight ends and running backs. They don't have an elite cornerback that can really stop Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle. So I think they're going to have success throwing the ball. And then on the other side of the ball, the Dolphins have Xavier Howard that matches up perfectly against A.J. Brown. We know they're going to blitz the heck out of Tannehill. They're number 6 in pass DVOA and number 4 against opposing wide receiver ones. They blitz at the highest rate in the league, and Tannehill is tied for the league with 14 interceptions. I think this all sets up as a great spot for the Dolphins to cover and potentially win the game.
Yeah, I am with you on the Dolphins. Great breakdown by you there. And look, just last week, Titans won the game against the 49ers, but again, my weekly Titans slander, they didn't look good. Again, how many games in a row? This team, again, under 5 yards per play, again last week. Jimmy G throws a red zone, a goal line interception.
Yeah, in the end zone.
There's another interception that gives them good field position. So it's just, unless his team's getting turnover luck, which I'm not saying is out of the realm of possibility with Tua at quarterback. He didn't look great last week. But But yeah, like you said, I think the secondary is going to struggle with Waddle and Parker. Titans are allowing the second highest adjusted sack rate in the league against this blitz heavy team. So, and I think this is going to be a low scoring toss up type game where if I'm getting 3.5 points on a game, I think it's going to be like that. Like I can see this being like a mid 30s total game. So give me the 3.5 points there. Yeah.
Yeah, totally with you. Any props for you in this one?
Yeah, obviously Waddle we're going to look at, but I think this is a really good buy low spot on Devonta Parker.
Yes.
If you watch that game on Monday, you might have not even known he was playing in the game. So we might get a pretty generous line here on his yards.
I think you might see low 50s, like 51.5.
Yeah, that's what I had in mind.
And prior to last week, he's been awesome. Like it wasn't just like one bad game. He's been awesome all season when he's been in there. So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think it'd be a great spot for him.
Yeah, I think they'll probably jack up Waddle's receiving yards. It might even be like mid 70s where it's unplayable and you buy low on Parker and that's the way you attack it.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. AFC West, Denver Broncos against the LA Chargers. Both teams still currently in the hunt for the AFC wildcard spot, but they're going to need a win here. The Chargers are 6-point favorites. The over-under is 44. We have Drew Lock announced as the starter today with Teddy Bridgewater going to be out with his concussion. Mike Williams, I believe, is going to come off the COVID list. The Chargers also placed their cornerback Chris Harris on the COVID list. Don't know if he's going to play. For this game, it's going to be Broncos or pass for me. I'm looking at a +7 is going to be my buy point on the Denver Broncos. And I'm honestly going to put some on the money line too. I think that Drew Lock's not a great quarterback, but like we've just seen the volatility in these Chargers games. Things can swing so much. They love to go for it on these fourth downs, but I think creates these opportunities for big swings where, if the Chargers are at the 1 yard line, they don't get it on fourth down. It's a huge swing for the Broncos. So I think the Broncos could win this game. I would never in a million years bet the Chargers at these numbers. It is Broncos for pass, hoping for a +7, and I'll take the money line at +220 or better.
Yeah, I really hate that we're basically locked in the same spot in every one of these games. It's pretty annoying, but the Chargers are, they are just the epitome of why you don't overreact to teams early in the season or make an opinion on teams based on a few weeks. Because early in the season, there was like Chargers Super Bowl talk, and now they're on the bubble of there literally was Chargers Super Bowl talk, and they might not even make the playoffs now.
It turns out they're just the Anthony Lynn Chargers all over it.
Exactly. And this defense last week, I already, touched on early. They just reached an all-time low last week. Rush defense has been bad all year, but they were coming off a game where they actually didn't do terrible against the rush against the Chiefs, and then they just throw probably the worst performance in NFL history last week. And the pass defense has been slipping. It is. It was the worst. You're allowing Rex Burkhead to rush for 150 yards. You are like, there's going to be something from that game in Canton, Ohio, in the Hall of Fame for the worst defensive performance of all time, because that's what it was, and I'm not exaggerating. And the pass defense has been slipping too. It's not just the rush defense. This team can't get off the field. 7 here with the Broncos, regardless of who's at quarterback, would be an absolute gift. So I'm with you. If it gets there, I'll be all over the Broncos. And props wise, give me both Broncos running backs, anything under 150 yards. And that's not combined. That's individually. I'll take them both. Yeah.
I wrote down the exact same thing. Not quite with that many yards, but yes, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, bet them both over in the rush yards. You'll probably get a number in the low 50s for both of them.
No, low 50s. You think for both of them in this matchup after last week? I don't know. I think you're in the 60s this week.
Yeah, but it's hard with both of them. I feel like they can never. I don't think I've ever seen them in the 60s when both of them are active.
I don't know. In this matchup, after we saw what we saw last week, I don't think I would be shocked if it was in the 50s for either one. But I mean, maybe you're right.
I think maybe you see Javonte in the 60s, but Melvin Gordon had 7 carries for -4 yards last week. It's kind of hard to set him in like the 60s now.
I guess. Yeah, but Rex Burkhead was averaging like -5 yards per carry going into last week. So.
Yeah, but his line was only like 30.5.
I know. I'm not gonna lie. Look, I'll put it out there. I didn't play it. I considered the under. I'm not kidding. I was like, oh man, they're adding yards because he's playing the Chargers. Thank God I didn't. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't cross my mind.
You would have felt like a real idiot if you played that.
Oh man.
All right, let's go to our next game here. I have no idea what time we're at because DraftKings is throwing me off now. Let's go to the LA Rams and the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if we're in the 4 o'clock window, but the Ravens are 3.5-point home underdogs. The over-under is 46.5. I am not seeing any weather issues in Baltimore. We got reports today from practice that Lamar Jackson was back at practice in a limited capacity. I did not see great news on his status. Some of the beat reporters were saying that he was kind of hobbling around. It didn't look too great in practice, but it does sound like worst case, they're going to have Tyler Huntley, who we know is capable backup. The Ravens took another hit to their secondary. They're like 7th string cornerback at this point. Anthony Averett has a cracked rib and is doubtful for this game. So not great going up against this Rams receiving core. My play in this one is on the over. I took the Rams team total over 23.5. Also took the game total over 46.5. Whether Lamar is back or not, like I said, Huntley's a capable backup. No weather issues. The Rams offense has scored 28 plus points in 4 out of their last 5. Ravens obviously decimated in the secondary, and the Rams' best strength on offense is in the passing game. So anywhere under that semi-key number of this total of 47, anywhere under that, I'm on the over. That gets 24-23, 27-20, 28-20, 30-17, all those good over.
Yeah, I think if I was playing the over, I would just take the Rams team total, like you said. I wouldn't even touch the game over.
I think the Ravens offense can do enough. They're not dead. They still
all right. Well, yeah, but we don't know who's playing quarterback. And honestly, if Lamar's back, what is a hobbled Lamar? Like you don't bet on the Ravens to score points because of.
I'd rather it be Huntley.
Well, yeah, exactly. So at this point, I'm saying I would just play the Rams team total until I get more clarification on the Ravens. And I think it's a much safer play even with Huntley in there. It's just laughable at this point. Who is playing quarterback for the Ravens? They've lost like everyone. They have the first string, second string, third. I don't even know if they have practice squad corners at this point. It's
I have no idea.
So I don't know. Who's going to?
If it's the same guys that played against the Bengals last week, I can tell you they're not very good.
So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to see a number here with the position the Ravens are in right now. At home, backs against the wall, need to win the last 2 games to get in the playoffs. At 3.5 here for me not to take it, but there's just no way I can.
It's weird.
I don't know how this defense gets stops the rest of the year. I really don't. Do they play? Is it the Steelers they play next week? The Steelers might even score like 27 points.
Oh gosh, they'll look good against the Steelers. I don't even know if the Steelers can take advantage of them.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Rams team total will be the only play I have here.
Props, we go Cooper Kupp over 1 billion receiving yards.
Yeah, what does this open at? I mean, honestly.
I wrote down 111.5.
All right.
As my buy point.
It just feels wrong to take that, but you almost have to.
It's hard not to take it. It's hard to make a case against it.
Yeah. Pretty much anyone in the Rams receiving game I wouldn't push back on.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you just want to go safe, you just go Stafford over longest reception, over passing yards or whatever, just in case he hits Van Jefferson or someone instead of Kupp. But yeah, it's
and Stafford, if you're getting over 2.5 touchdown passes at plus money, I think that's a fantastic play.
Yeah, I don't like touchdown passes, but it's fine.
All right.
I get it. I hate those stupid fluky ones where like
I get it.
A bomb goes down at the 1 yard line, then they hand it to Sony Michel. It's like you deserve that. It's stupid.
I get it, but it's still if you're getting that's why when it's 2.5, they're usually at pretty decent plus money.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Going back to Mark Andrews.
If Huntley's at quarterback, yeah, absolutely.
Or Lamar. He has good rapport with Lamar.
I think if Lamar's in, I think it would be a good spot to go back to Hollywood if you get him at like 4.5 receptions.
Yeah, he hasn't done much recently.
He hasn't. So, but when Lamar was in there, we're almost weekly cashing on over 4.5 receptions. So I don't have an issue going with that.
You might see some Ramsey though, but yeah, I hear you.
Ramsey hasn't been shadowing though. Like
I know he's not going to see him all game, but he'll see him.
Like Justin Jefferson, I took him last week over 6.5 receptions at plus money.
Same,
I think it was at plus money because it's the assumption that he's going to get Ramsey all game, but it wasn't the case. He ended up getting 8 receptions, I think. So yeah, I don't know.
All right, let's move on. If you have nothing else to say,
nope.
Detroit Lions again. Detroit Lions against the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are 7-point home favorites. The over-under is 43, 35 degrees in the forecast with a slight chance of rain. We are both in on the Lions here. I grabbed them at +9. I believe you have +8.5. But we got some bad news out of Lions beat reporter camp today. Jared Goff was apparently absent from practice with a knee strain, which is almost unfathomable considering he was on the COVID list last week and I would assume in isolation. I don't know how you strain your knee on the COVID list. Like, that's not even possible. But apparently his status is in doubt for Sunday. So it may be Tim Boyle. And I am really not happy about it because this Lions play was going to be my potentially favorite bet of the week. I think the spread is absolutely insane. And I think the Lions are live to win the game. I don't know if I can get there with Tim Boyle, but I still would never bet the Seahawks in a million years.
Yeah, normally these things don't bother me, but this one really pissed me off because we both just absolutely love the Lions here at over a touchdown. It was just absolutely egregious giving the Seahawks this many points. This team is just, not only have they given up, but this defense is an absolute train wreck right now. And we've seen Goff be able to move the ball. This Lions team doesn't have any quit. They might be getting Swift back, so. It's a shame. I was able to cash out of my money line bet, because I'm not taking a Lions money line with Tim Boyle in there.
I'm riding it. I'm not cashing out.
I cashed out. I kept the
Tim Boyle was 5 yards away from beating the Falcons last week. He's not done. He can do it.
I guess. I don't know. I kept the 7.5, so I have something in them. But just a real shame. Maybe it's only Wednesday. Maybe we'll get some positive news later in the week against Goff, as long as he doesn't hurt his elbow or something while changing the channel on his TV.
Yeah, what the heck is wrong with this guy? Props for you in this game.
I got nothing.
I have 4 words for you. You ready?
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. I am pissed that I missed it last week. I said it on the podcast. I was going to be all over this guy, and then I got scared off because stupid Tim Boyle comes in. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is a straight-up baller. 4 straight weeks of 11+ targets, 8+ catches, 70+ receiving yards, and a touchdown in 3 of those 4 games. And the Seahawks are 28th in DVOA against the pass. I don't know. I don't care who's the quarterback. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to keep smashing, and I'm riding him.
All right.
And on the Seahawks side, Mr. Gerald Everett quietly having some back-to-back solid games. 4 for 60 2 weeks ago and 4 for 68 and 1 last week. The Lions are the 3rd worst in the league against opposing tight ends. Kyle Pitts went 6 for 102 last game. Ertz 6 for 74 the week before. Even Noah Fant and Albert O, with a horrible quarterback, combined 9 for 92 a couple weeks ago against this Lions defense. So I think Gerald Everett's going to be lined in the low to mid 30s, and it's a good spot for the over.
All
right. Let's move on. Sunday Night Football, I believe. The Vikings against the Packers. Packers are 6.5-point home favorites in this NFC North divisional battle. Over-under is at 48.5. The weather in this game. Would you like to guess what the real feel is going to be?
I already know, so you can say it. I looked it up earlier.
Negative 11 degrees on the real feel in Lambeau. Unbelievably cold. Couple injury notes here, some key ones. Dalvin Cook off the COVID list, going to be good to go for this game. Adam Thielen is done for the season, and simultaneously, the Packers have activated Jair Alexander, their shutdown #1 corner, to be back for this game. So he's going to be seeing a lot of Justin Jefferson in what should be a very good matchup. Do you have a play on this game?
I'm waiting for a 7 for the Vikings. If not, I will buy into them at 6.5. I absolutely love the Vikings here. Packers defense, we touched on earlier, just serious issues right now. 400 yards, 8.7 yards per carry to the Browns, 350 yards, 5.5 yards per carry, and 30 points to the Ravens and Tyler Huntley. That's what they've let up.
But those were total yards?
Yeah.
Oh, you said the yards and then the yards per carry. It sounded like you were saying the rush yard. Okay. Right.
No. So sorry, total yards and yards per carry.
Gotcha.
And that was 30 points to the Ravens and Tyler Huntley, and then 350 yards, 6 yards per carry, 30 points to the Chicago Bears. So look, Vikings have had their issues. They let us down last week, but if teams are being able to run the ball like this against the Packers in this weather, I have trouble not backing the Vikings here at 6.5 to 7. It's just, Dalvin Cook back, and this would just be all Vikings for me here. And we saw, the Packers could have easily lost the last 2 games to the Browns and Tyler Huntley the week before at the Ravens. So I'm a little bit shocked by this line, to be honest with you.
As someone who has bought into them to come out of the NFC, are you worried about the Packers at all more long term? Like, do you think they could be potentially due for some one score regression like we saw with the Ravens, where they're winning all these close games at the wire and it's only a matter of time before it goes the other way? Or do you think that they're just kind of in a midseason lull and they'll snap out of it?
No, I think this defense is a huge concern. And, probably a month or so ago, I was of the boat that the Packers would be able to take care of the Bucs in the playoffs, but I don't know if that's the case right now because the Bucs can run the ball almost as well as they can pass it. Even with Ronald Jones back there, they've been offensive line's been fantastic the entire season. So obviously Jair Alexander helps, but it's not really helping the run game. So I just have trouble seeing the Packers get absolutely shredded like this by these types of offenses and then thinking they can compete with the elite teams in the NFC, or elite team, I should say, in the NFC. Even against, like, if the Packers were to play the Eagles right now and you're giving me, like, say, a 6-point line, I would take the Eagles at that all day if teams are going to be able to run the ball like this.
Yeah, that'd be a bad matchup for them for sure.
So, yeah, I think if they don't get that fixed, it's definitely going to be trouble.
Okay. Despite having the best record in the NFL, 12-3, the Packers are 11th in point differential. The Eagles actually have a 21 points better on the point differential than the Packers do this year, despite having 4 more losses. Very interesting.
Partially inflated by that week 1 absolute massacre against the Saints, but
the Packers.
Packers. Yeah.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
All right. Props for you in this one.
Definitely going to be looking Dalvin Cook and may also look at A.J. Dillon on the other side. This just kind of screams like an A.J. Dillon, a negative degree weather where they just want to absolutely hammer this Vikings defense, which the Vikings are pretty susceptible against the run too. So A.J. Dillon in negative 10-degree weather does not sound like fun. So I think that could be a pretty good spot.
Good point. Definitely with you on Dalvin Cook, somewhere in the low 80s. I think you just broke it down pretty well, and he went 22 for 86 against the Packers back in their Week 11 win, where the Vikings won 34-31. What if we got, what if everyone kind of freaks out about the weather? It's going to be cold, the wind, and you get a Devonta Adams line in like the high 70s.
Yeah, I would take that.
Okay.
It's not like Rodgers has never played in the cold weather.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't, like the Packers. It doesn't matter.
I'm not gonna. I think it has some effect on the game, but I'm not gonna, panic.
I think it's more deep balls, though. I don't think like a 10-yard slant to Devonta Adams. I don't think it really has much effect. Maybe it's a little bit harder to catch because the ball is like a frozen rock. But Devonta Adams. And
obviously, you got to see the wind too, not just the cold. But
I saw 10-mile-an-hour.
All right, so that's nothing.
But obviously, it's far out. It's not like it's not supposed to be anything crazy like a hurricane or whatever.
No, yeah, I'd be shocked if we got that low with Adams, though, even with the weather.
Yeah, just curious to see. I don't think we've had any of these games where it's been like this cold, at least yet this year. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Monday Night Football. In the AFC East, the Browns against the Steelers. The Browns are 3.5-point road favorites. I don't know how the heck someone set this line. I don't get it. The over-under is 41. Going to tip my hand here. But yeah, definitely going to be on the Steelers here. I don't understand this spread at all. I made it Steelers -1 when I was making my numbers. There is no way on earth you could ever get me to the Browns laying a field goal, let alone more than a field goal here. Cue the Mike Tomlin home dogs underdog. I will hand it over to you to go in depth here.
I haven't bought into the Steelers yet. I haven't. You think
what?
No,
you didn't get the Steelers yet?
I didn't bet them yet.
What are you waiting for? It's 3.5 at home.
I know, I get it. The value's there. And like, look, I've been playing it all year. This is like the prime.
Who are you? What?
This is like the divisional Mike Tomlin home underdog spot that you drool over. And
I haven't bought into it. In these situations.
How are the Steelers stopping this Browns run game? That's my base concern. And no, I'm not making a case to bet the Browns. I want to get that away. I would never, like you said, in a million years lay 3.5 points this matchup. But It's just scaring me off. What like the Steelers have been getting absolutely torched. No matter what adjustments they make, they cannot stop the run. And now you have to go up against the Browns, who just rushed for almost 9 yards per carry last week against the Packers. I don't know, man. It's a scary matchup to back the Steelers, and I agree they are the side, but I've passed so far right now.
Okay, here's the counter.
If this was at like a Steelers -1 or even like a Browns -1, I would probably take the Browns here.
Nah. It's also potentially Big Ben's last game in Pittsburgh in his entire career.
Spare me with that. No.
But that matter. What do you mean they spare you with that?
What's
matters?
That? What is that going to make Big Ben be able to throw the ball all of a sudden?
Maybe.
Oh, come on.
Here's. Go ahead.
Don't
yell at
me
about the stupid.
No, go ahead. Give me your little narrative. Go ahead. Tell me a story.
No, I'm done with that. No, I'm going back to the Browns point. You said you're worried about the Browns running game. I get you. Here's my case against why I still think the Steelers can win and at least cover. The last 2 weeks, Nick Chubb has been incredible on the ground. 23 for 91-1 against the Raiders. Browns lost 16-14. Last week, 17 for 126. That's over 6 yards a carry against the Packers. They still lost 24-22. Those are like peak rushing performances. That's what we're expecting him to do, go for 100 yards, if not more in this game. And they still lost both of those games. And they can even win this game, and the Steelers can still cover. Like, it's a game with a total of 41, and you're getting over a field goal. Even if Chubb runs for 150 yards, like, okay, they're going to win 20-17. They're going to lose 17-16. Like, I love Chubb too, but I don't see how they're winning by 4 or more points here.
Yeah, but last week you're playing the Packers, an offense that can put up points and at least somewhat put pressure on you that you need.
They only scored 22.
That you need to throw the ball.
It's not like the Packers scored 40 points to cover in the game or anything. Like, I don't think they're going to be able to score that much. If Baker throws, the Steelers are going to force turnovers. He's going to have to throw at some point.
Look, again, I'm not advocating to take the Browns right now, but maybe this will, more people have your mindset, this will get down to a 1 point spread, and I can take the Browns, but I don't know. Way. If it holds at 3.5 come Monday night, maybe I'll end up taking the Steelers, but right now I'm just scared off by what I've seen from the Steelers defense in the run game.
When these teams played back in week 8, the final score was 15-10 and the Steelers won.
But I don't think I think the Steelers defense has gotten worse.
Oh, it definitely has.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like the last month or so from what we've seen from the Steelers defense is the worst we've seen it in 20 years probably in terms of the run game. So it seems like a completely different defense than week 8 to me.
How do you feel about like a same game parlay teaser? If you go like I did one earlier today, Steelers plus 10.5 and the game total under 47.5. That got me like minus 115.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty solid.
Like, how are the Browns winning 28 to 14?
Double digits. Like, I could never convince myself that the Browns would win by double digits.
Yeah, and like you can't really make a case for the game to get 48 points in it. Like, it just Props for you. Where are you taking Chubb up to? 95.5? Would you go there?
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, it's good. That's what they're going to do. It's just going to be Chubb getting 25 carries probably.
Yeah. 108 yards allowed to Deontay Foreman, 205 to Dalvin, 165 to Mixon. Browns, I think, number 1 in the league in run blocking.
Yeah, bring it on, Books. Where are you going to set the line?
Shit, interesting to see.
How high can you go?
And Nick Chubb's not a guy that we've ever seen like crazy high. Like, he's never been in like the Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry range.
He's been in like the 80s. I don't think he's ever gotten above 90.
It'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
All right. Anything left to say?
Nope.
Let's close out the week with our favorite 3 segments. We'll go first with our long shots, where we give out our favorite bet of the week at odds of plus 200 or longer. Rue, I will kick it over to you to start us off.
All right, so I had to pivot off Lions money line, which was going to be my original, but I'm going to go back to prop we both really like in Devin Singletary. I'm going to go for him to get 70 yards, score a touchdown, and the Bills win the game. And I'm going to guess his touchdown odds are going to be pretty decent.
Yeah, they'll probably be close, plus 110 maybe.
Yeah, plus 110. Get that with the 70 yards and Bills win. Should be
touchdown worries me a little bit, but
yeah, it does, but it's a long shot.
It's a long shot. I get it. All right, Devin Singletary, 70 rush yards, a touchdown, and the Bills money line. Bruce long shot of the week for me. We don't need any pivots. We don't need to change our minds. I still believe in this Lions team. I believe in Dan Campbell. I think Tim Boyle can do enough to get it done. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown, 70 receiving yards, and the Detroit Lions money line.
All right.
Probably going to be around plus 450. Don't have lines yet, but that's where I'm going to be going. Amon-Ra St. Brown takes it to the house. Lions win 24-21. Boom. Book it.
I like it.
All right, favorite bets of the week. Where are you going?
All right, I'm taking one of these hefty spreads here. I'm taking the Bucks at I took them at -13, so that's where I'll take my favorite bet of the week. I just think this is an absolutely terrible matchup for Zach Wilson and the Jets. He's going to be under pressure all day from the Bucks blitzes, and I don't see how the Bucks don't score 35 points against this absolutely atrocious pass defense, rush defense, everything. So give me the Bucks -13.
All right, Bucks -13 for you. I am torn here between my Steelers same game parlay of +10.5 and under 47.5 and the Dolphins +3.5. I am going to officially make my favorite bet of the week as the Miami Dolphins. Let's go back-to-back weeks. Dolphins +3 last week came home easy. +3.5 this week. Think we broke it down in pretty good amount of depth, if that's how you say that. I think it's a really good matchup for the Dolphins offense. The passing game, Waddle, Devontae Parker on defense. Xavier Howard's going to stick onto A.J. Brown like Lou. Tannehill's going to turn the ball over. Dolphins defense comes up big with a blitz. Dolphins get an outright win here, but I'll take them +3.5 for my favorite bet of the week. Keep the win streak rolling.
All right. I like it.
Do we have enough teams or enough confidence in these teams to make a chalk donkey parlay?
I don't think so. I mean, because like the bigger favorites are all like -1,000 odds.
Okay, what if you went Bucks, Eagles, and Bills?
What are the odds on DraftKings?
-101.
All right. I have +101 on FanDuel.
Plus, you get a plus.
All right, let's do it. Bucks, Bills, Eagles.
Chalk donkey parlay. Money line all those bets together. +101 odds for our chalk donkey parlay of the week.
All right.
All right. That'll do it. Anything left to say?
No. Happy New Year to everyone out there. Enjoy another weekend of football. We appreciate all of you who have been listening since the start of last year, and all of you have picked us up in the new year. We truly appreciate you guys listening every week.
Absolutely. Onward and upward to 2022. Let's keep this thing growing. Keep it going out there, everyone. Hope you have a fantastic week 17. Any questions, comments, or concerns, hit us up on Twitter at BetRightPod. The DMs are always open. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Smash the like button on YouTube. As always, the link to the YouTube video will be in the description of this podcast or on the Six Pack Coverage Media YouTube page. We will also post a link to the Twitter page from Jeff and Rue. We are the Bet Right Sports Betting Podcast because every time you bet with us, you bet right.